A cold winter night in Lisbon, Portugal. The dimly lit streets are wet from the recent rain, reflecting the orange glow of old street lamps. A luxurious black Rolls-Royce Cullinan with tinted windows drives slowly down the road, its headlights piercing through the misty air. The street is lined with old European-style buildings, some with graffiti, others with small balconies filled with hanging clothes. A few pedestrians in heavy coats walk hurriedly, their breath visible in the freezing air. Inside the car, Cristiano Ronaldo sits in the back seat, dressed in a tailored black coat over a dark turtleneck. His sharp, chiseled features are illuminated by the soft interior lighting as he gazes outside, deep in thought. His jaw is tense, his expression unreadable, lost in a moment of reflection. The muffled sound of classical music plays from the car speakers, blending with the distant echoes of the city. The contrast between the warmth inside the car and the cold reality of the streets outside is striking. On a lonely, rain-soaked sidewalk in Lisbon, a small boy, around 10 years old, sits curled up against the cold stone wall of an old building. His thin, frail frame is wrapped in a tattered gray blanket, barely shielding him from the freezing wind. His dark, messy hair falls over his forehead, and his large, expressive brown eyes stare into the distance, full of quiet sadness and determination. His little fingers clutch a worn-out, deflated football, the only possession he truly treasures. His shoes are torn, his jeans frayed at the edges, and his hands tremble slightly from the cold. The street around him is quiet, with only a few passers-by, none of whom seem to notice him. The distant sound of a tram moving along the tracks hums in the background, and a flickering neon cafe sign casts a faint glow on his face. The scene is a heartbreaking contrast between the busy world moving around him and his isolated struggle for warmth and hope. The Rolls-Royce slowly comes to a stop near the sidewalk. The door opens, and Cristiano Ronaldo steps out, exhaling a soft breath of warm air into the cold night. His polished black leather boots hit the pavement as he straightens his coat, adjusting the collar against the winter chill. He takes a few steps forward, then stops. His sharp eyes land on Miguel, the small boy curled up on the sidewalk, gripping his football like a lifeline. Ronaldo's brows furrow slightly, his expression shifting from quiet observation to concern. He watches as the boy rubs his hands together for warmth, his fragile frame trembling slightly. The distant hum of a passing car breaks the silence, but Ronaldo remains focused on the child. A mix of emotions flickers in his eyes, memories of his own struggles, a deep empathy, and a silent understanding. He takes a slow step forward, the sound of his footsteps on the wet pavement drawing Miguel's cautious gaze upward. The contrast between the towering, world-famous athlete and the small, shivering boy is stark, yet in that moment, they are just two souls connected by an invisible thread of fate. Miguel, still hesitant, looks up at Ronaldo with wide eyes, his lips slightly parted as if unsure whether to speak. His fingers grip the football tighter, as if afraid that even this small possession might be taken away. Slowly, in a soft, slightly trembling voice, he begins to speak. His words are simple but heavy with meaning, stories of long, cold nights, a sick grandmother, and dreams of becoming a footballer that feel impossible in a world that doesn't seem to see him. As he speaks, his voice wavers, but there is no self-pity, only a quiet resilience. Ronaldo crouches down to be at eye level with him, listening intently, his face serious but gentle. The street around them remains unchanged, people walk past, cars move, life goes on. But in this moment, the world seems to pause, as a global superstar listens to the heartfelt story of a boy who has nothing but dreams. Standing slightly apart from Miguel, Ronaldo pulls out his sleek black iPhone, the screen casting a faint glow on his face as he dials a number. His expression is sharp, focused. This is a man who has made decisions under the highest pressure, and now, he is making another one. His deep voice speaks into the phone, his words calm but firm. Find me a place for him tonight. And get someone here now. His free hand is tucked into his coat pocket, shielding from the cold, while his gaze remains on the small boy sitting on the sidewalk. Miguel watches him with cautious hope, his eyes reflecting both wonder and disbelief. The distant neon lights flicker against the damp pavement, and somewhere, a clock tower chimes midnight. A silent promise lingers in the air. Inside a warm, cozy Portuguese cafe, the contrast to the freezing street outside is striking. Miguel sits at a small wooden table, his small hands wrapped around a steaming bowl of soup. The warmth rises in delicate swirls, misting his cold cheeks. Across from him, Cristiano Ronaldo sits, his coat draped over the chair, watching as the boy hesitantly takes a bite of warm bread. The cafe's dim, golden lights cast a soft glow over the wooden interior, making the moment feel even more intimate. A waitress in a simple uniform moves in the background, setting down fresh plates, while other patrons enjoy quiet conversations. Miguel, his eyes wide with quiet gratitude, eats slowly, as if afraid this moment might disappear. Early morning sunlight streams through the window of a small but newly furnished apartment. Miguel and his elderly grandmother stand frozen, their expressions a mix of shock and overwhelming gratitude. The kitchen, once empty, now has stocked cabinets. A new couch sits in the living room, warm blankets folded neatly on top. A note on the wooden dining table reads in elegant handwriting, "Never stop dreaming." Miguel's grandmother, her wrinkled hands trembling, covers her mouth in disbelief. Miguel grips his football tightly, his heart pounding with the realization that this is real. On a bright green football field, Miguel stands proudly in a brand new academy jersey, his feet laced in high-quality boots. His eyes are filled with hope as he watches a coach demonstrating a move. Other young players practice in the background, their laughter filling the air. The academy logo on his chest symbolizes a new beginning. Beside him, his old deflated football lies next to a brand new one, a silent reminder of where he came from.